This is George Dionne for KNAC.com, and I'm here with guitarist Jack Starr of Burning Starr. If I knew absolutely nothing about Jack Starr's Burning Starr, how would you describe the band's music to me?
That's a tough one. I would say we're old school metal. We have some pretty deep roots, and it's melodic, it's heavy, and it's got some cool influences that a lot of today's metal bands don't really have.
Absolutely. I'd have to agree with that. You have a new album coming out on July 15th called Souls of the Innocent on
Yes.
Global Rock Records. The first thing I wanted to ask you is it's been about 5 years since your last studio album. So what's been going on with you?
Well, let's see. We've been playing. There was this nasty little thing called COVID that was out there running wild. And that kind of slowed things down. But aside from that, I also did a solo album, not a Burning Starr album, a Jack Starr album. I've been dealing with this little thing we call life and enjoying it as well.
Absolutely. Seems sort of like I don't want to say perfect time during the lockdowns, but seems like an appropriate time to catch your breath as a working musician, of course.
Absolutely. And it was a good time to reassess and to listen and to experiment, because there was not really a lot of pressure. A lot of people really weren't going out. Florida was a lot better, though, than most places, I have to say.
Let's talk a little bit about Souls of the Innocent. It's kind of a dark album, I noticed. Not exactly a happy ending here, but, true in the state of a real heavy metal album.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's probably the darkest album that Burning Starr has ever done. And that could have been a reflection of what was going on around us. The title track is actually in reference to the shooting in Las Vegas. And the Souls of the Innocent were the concert goers who were basically sitting ducks while some crazy nut job with a rifle was picking them off from a hotel room.
Going beyond that particular song, are you planning on any music videos for songs from the album?
Actually, 3 of them were done already, and they will come out to coincide with the release of the album. I think there's a method to the madness. Our manager, Giles Lavery, does have a plan where, they're all not going to come out at once, obviously, but he's going to kind of time them to come out in synchronicity with the album. And aside from also the 3 regular full-length videos, there's about over 20 other videos where we sit down and talk about the album. So it's kind of like just a little glimpse into, what was going on in our minds and our thoughts as we were, doing it.
This is kind of a new version of Burning Starr for you. You have one returning member in Ned Maloney, but I believe Rhino from Man of War is new to the fold, and your singer Alexx Panza is new to the fold. How did they come into the picture?
Well, actually, no. Rhino's been with us since the Defiance album in 2009. So Rhino's been with us the whole time. I mean, not the whole time, but the whole time that we reemerged, and Ned's been with me forever. He's always there, and thank God for that. He's a great bass player, and Rhino is a just incredible drummer. So now it leaves us to Alexx. Alexx had some really tough shoes to fill. Our singer prior to Alexx, Todd Michael Hall, is just a phenomenal singer. He's now in the band Riot. Phenomenal singer, and he was also a contestant on The Voice. So we know you got to be pretty decent to do those things. So here was this young guy, Alexx Panza, 29 years old, from Turin, Italy. We just basically said, "You're the guy," and he was definitely surprised and happy. I think people are gonna dig his voice.
Do you think bringing in someone like Alex, who's younger, kind of lights that fire under you, who's been around for a little bit, kind of keep you on your toes, keep you on the top of your game?
Yes, we need that that young infusion of blood, like we're like old vampires. Literally, I don't know. So it was great, and he's a good guy. And we kind of it kind of rubs off the enthusiasm. So it's cool because it kind of makes us remember how we were when we were 29 years old.
Are you going to have a chance to hit the road in support of Souls of the Innocent?
That's what they tell me, and I have to believe them. We're basically all about playing live. We love it. I mean, at my age, if I'm still crazy enough to want to do this, I must really enjoy it, or I'm a glutton for punishment, or both. I don't know, but there's something about getting up in front of a strange audience, with one purpose. You're going to win them over, and even if they don't make a noise or a sound after they introduce you, and if it's dead silent, then the quest is on. I'm going to get those bastards to love me by the end of the night, and we usually do.
This deal that you have with Global Rock Records doesn't just include the new album. It comes along with your back catalog. How did this deal all come together with Global Rock?
Well, we were talking, and first of all, Giles Lavery, our manager, is very tight with Global Rock, and he really believes in them, and they believe in him. So he was talking to Brian Parker. No, I'm sorry, it's not Brian Parker. It's Brian Adams. I don't. There's something in me that doesn't want to say Brian Adams because we think of the other Brian Adams, so the pop star. Anyway, so Giles was talking to Brian Adams from Global Rock, and basically, I think he explained to him the beauty of getting all of the eggs in one basket. There's a lot of newer fans that really haven't been exposed to the previous albums. They have a vague idea that I've been around the block and they've heard my name. They're not really sure what I do. This is going to kind of consolidate everything, and they're going to be confronted with what I do.
That's a good way of looking at it. Having everything all in one spot, hitting all social media, hitting all the streaming and all the physical product. Going back to the new album, is that just going to be a digital release and CD release, or are you going to expand upon that with maybe a vinyl or a cassette or something like that?
Well, I'm definitely hoping at the very least we'll have it on vinyl form, just out of sheer greed, because I'm a vinyl collector. Damn it, I want all my albums to be on vinyl. Most of them are, so it will be very cool to add Souls of the Innocent. And there's something about holding a big album and looking at it while it's playing, and you kind of just get lost in the album art. I think it's a great thing, and I really am glad that a lot of the young people of today are, getting back into vinyl.
Absolutely. It seemed to just kind of click on one year and everybody wants it and everybody's putting it out there. And I mean, I do have to say kind of the newer vinyl doesn't stand up to the older vinyl, but I mean, what are you going to do?
Exactly. C'est la vie.
Let's hit the time machine a little bit since we're talking about the back catalog. What do you remember about putting together your first Burning Starr album back in 1985-ish?
Well, I remember, first of all, not having a name for the band. And I remember thinking, okay, I did this great solo album with Rhett Forster, who was previously in Riot. Rhett and I, that was a one-off, and I needed to assert myself in a band situation. I didn't really want to be a solo artist at that time, and I still really don't. I was thinking, okay, I need a name for the band. I was in a club one night, and I'm talking to this guy that I didn't really know him that well. He was kind of like a what was that movie? Ted and
Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That's it. He was kind of like that. So anyway, I'm in the club and I'm talking. I said, yeah, I'm going to put together a band. I have no idea what I'm gonna call this band, And he goes, dude, you got to call it Burning Starr because you burn, dude, on the guitar. That was it. I said, okay, pretty cool. Then I put together the band. I really got like the best guys I could that were in my neck of the woods because I had a record deal. I walked into a very big independent label, Passport Records. At the time, I mean, they had a hit with Year of the Cat, Al Stewart. They had Wendy O. Williams, who was being produced by Gene Simmons at the time. And they had the bass player of the Rolling Stones, Bill Wyman. They had an album called Willie and the Poor Boys. And plus a whole bunch of other people. So I said, wow, this is great. I can't believe I'm on this label, Like, who the hell am I to be on a label, with Bill Wyman of the Stones, So I had this record deal, and there was a decent amount of money, which, because back then labels gave out money, which was a nice thing. And I mean, they still do, but not like before, So with all that, I knew that I had a good leg to stand on, and I could go to some really good musicians and say, hey, listen, I want you in my band. I'm going to do an album. Let's talk, and I got some really great people, and we did Rock the American Way.
Fantastic album. You've always been sort of a guitar-centric artist through all your albums and the current album, Souls of the Innocent. What do you think about today's artists and the lack of electric guitar? Most of the stuff on the radio, rock radio, there's no solos, there's no anything, show-offy, I guess that's what it was to me in the 80s. But, it seems like no one really cares to go anywhere with the guitar, at least mainstream-wise.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't know. I mean, I think, obviously things come and go in cycles. So there's a good chance, the guitar will come back. Right now, it is kind of a downtime. But at the same time, there's a lot of hardcore enthusiasts that want guitar-driven music, and which is a good thing for me because that is what I play. I think it's kind of symbolic of the fact that rock has kind of waned a bit. I mean, you've got people basically calling the death of rock. It's but I think the rumors of the death of rock are a bit premature. I think it's still a very viable form of music, and people go to the shows,
Absolutely. And I think that I think rock and roll personally has gone back underground, but the reason why I think is the internet, but that's also the enemy of music as well in some retrospects, but it kind of keeps other genres that aren't pushed by the mainstream alive.
It's true. And be careful what you wish for, because when the internet came out, everybody was like, wow, this is so cool. We can get our music out there, and everybody will have access to it. Of course, they didn't realize that everybody will have free access to it. And, and also that there's a million bands. And so there's not going to be that much of a specialness. It's kind of like when you were signed in the 80s, that meant something because there wasn't a zillion underground record labels. So if you came out on a disc in the 80s, it was an accomplishment. Today, basically anybody with a home recording setup can make a record. But it's really, are they really making a record? I mean, not really, because they're not going to do all the things that they need to do. Are they going to master it? Are they going to come up with great artwork? Is it going to be distributed by distributors? Or is it just going to be something that's available, somebody and their 50 friends to pat them on the back and say, man, that was so incredible. You're a genius, I don't know. It's a weird time that we're going through.
Besides Jack Starr's Burning Starr and your last solo album, are you working on any other music projects?
Well, I recorded a solo album, which will be coming out. It's pretty cool. I did it during the lockdown, and it's not metal, it's not blues, it's just something they call rock music. It should be interesting as well, you know. But really, my main priority, you know, is the metal. I've got metal in my blood. I feel like I'm one of the Blues Brothers, only it's the Metal Brothers. You know, when they say we're on a mission from God, sometimes I feel, you know, I'm on a mission from God to get this metal music out there, you know.
Well, it's funny you say that because, metal is in your blood and you influence a couple of big metal acts that I'm aware of. Queensryche and Metallica were big fans of yours, probably still big fans of yours. I saw a photo that you had from the Breaking Sound Festival in '84, where it was you guys and Metallica and members of Anthrax and the Rods and stuff like that. So I assume you guys all still, well, maybe back then you were closer than you are today, but I mean, you're all within each other's musical realm.
Yeah, and really, we're all products of that same era. You know, I think everyone is a product of their era, and not even just as far as music, as far as everything, you know, whether you're an actor, a painter, you know, there's a certain era, there's a certain vibe to a certain era. It's like actors, you know, they were all going, at one point, they were all going to this acting coach in New York City. I'm talking like Marlon Brando and James Dean and all these, but they were all from that era. And then you had the Francis Ford Coppola era, you know, with the Goodfellas and the Sopranos, you know, the Harvey Keitel, the Robert De Niro, the Al Pacino. That was an era in acting. There's a painting. There were painters that were part of, you know, this kind of postmodern. And in music, there is definitely a new wave of British heavy metal. And there was also a new wave of American heavy metal. And so it was really cool to be a part of that. So I can say proudly, yeah, I don't mind being lumped in that. It's a good thing.
And you're still burning, and you're burning with your latest studio album, Souls of the Innocent, out July 15th on Global Rock Records. That's all I got for you today, Jack. I appreciate you speaking to KNAC.com.
My pleasure. Take care.